Today I'm going to talk about trigonometric angle sum identities. And I wrote down the two equations I'm going to derive. Sine alpha plus beta equals sine alpha cosine beta plus cosine alpha sine beta. And cosine alpha plus beta equals cosine alpha cosine beta minus sinus alpha sinus beta. And I'm going to show you a way to derive those in a very simple way so that you don't have to remember them. And I'm going to use Euler's formula for that. And let's write down Euler's formula, which is e to the power I alpha equals cosine alpha plus I sine alpha. And this is Euler's formula. And it's using an I, which is equal to the square root of minus 1. And I squared equals minus 1 square root times minus 1 square root equals minus 1. Yeah? So if we know this Euler's formula, we can essentially derive the two equations 1 and 2 as written above. So let's start with the following. We do I alpha plus beta, which is cosine, just writing out the definition, alpha plus beta plus I sine alpha plus beta. And you can already see that that's the left side of formula 1 and 2. Now we're going to write it out in a little bit of a different form. We say I e to the power of I alpha plus beta equals alpha times beta. Right? This is also allowed because it's an exponent and you can essentially multiply them. When it's an addition here, it's a multiplication on the lower end. So we write this out and we say, okay, this is cosine alpha plus I sine alpha times cosine beta plus I sine beta. Right? We just filled out the definition of Euler's formula in both forms here, and this is the result. And we can work this out. We can say, okay, this is, so let's duplicate this one more time. This is equal to cosine alpha cosine beta, right, plus I cosine alpha sine beta. We just work it out, this times this, plus I sine alpha cosine beta, minus, I times I is minus 1, minus sinus alpha sine beta. Right? And now we can essentially collect the real values and the imaginary values, so we can write it out one more time. Cosine alpha cosine beta minus sine alpha sine beta plus I, and then we get cosine alpha sine beta plus sine alpha cosine beta. Right? Sine alpha cosine beta. And now we can compare this line with this line. Right? So what we see now, because these are the same, what we see is that cosine alpha plus beta, right, is now the real value cosine alpha cosine beta minus sine alpha sine beta. And we can see that that is actually the same as 2. And for the other one, sine alpha plus beta equals cosine alpha sine beta plus sine alpha cosine beta. And here you have them, right? Number 1 and number 2. This is number 1 and this is number 2, derived by simply using Euler's formula. And I think this is a good place to stop. If you really like this video, please like it and subscribe it, and I'll see you in the next one.